A great walk deserves a great landmark. When the route and the pathway of the Great Walk was established over the Conondale Ranges west of Queensland's Sunshine Coast, artist Andy Goldsworthy was asked to take to the track, seek inspiration and propose a work to celebrate it. From the dry forest ridges to the streams tumbling down over sharp blue granite, the terrain changes constantly. The Sunshine Coast Regional Council and Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service sought to celebrate the Great Walk and its natural beauty. They obtained funding for landmark artwork from art+place, the Queensland Government's public art fund. Andy took a long day's walk and saw the wide variety of terrain, animals and landforms unique to this mountainous coastal hinterland. He needed no more inspiration for his installation.
I think it would be difficult to make anything that came off-site. Using material from a place is a way of understanding the place. There's clay, there's stone, there's these amazing fig trees that wrap themselves around stones and other trees.
Andy was fascinated by the rainforest strangler fig, a tree that fights hard for its survival by enveloping other trees and large objects.
The whole relationship with the way it drew the space between the seed and the ground and figured out that it needed certain structures to be stable and in the sense of anticipation, the way that the tree is anticipating that the tree that is initially growing from will die and has to put down enough structural, almost steel work. It was like, it looked like reminding of steel work to support itself when the tree would become phenomenal. It's amazing.
The Conondale Range Great Walk is a 56-kilometre, 4-day journey through some of southeast Queensland's most beautiful and rugged terrain. Deep in its heart lie ribbons of rainforest, and it was here in 2009 that Andy first saw the beauty and violence of the Queensland bush.
I feel that in all the places that I go, there's a huge sense of violence and drama in the land. Sculpture is not made, always made gently. There's an incredible dynamic energy in the wood of all this tension, incredible tension in that wood. You know, the way that plants or trees are growing on each other and vines and pulling down and pulling up and pulling apart, and a huge sense of tension in there. And when you make a work, there will be a tension in that because of that. I hope to draw from those tensions. What's one of the reasons I make art is that it teaches me about a place, and it helps me to understand the place and also my relationship with that place.
On his first visit, Andy met local residents at the Kenilworth Hall. He explained what he saw on the Great Walk and how it would shape his proposal.
Well, the idea was conceived for this place, but not for a particular spot. But obviously finding the place is critical to the success of the work and will have a profound impact. I knew it would have a profound impact on the piece. What I needed was a gap in the forest caused by the falling down of a tree, which would afford enough light for the tree that would be planted on top of the cairn to grow. Even though I knew this site would have as I said, a profound effect on the work, I was not prepared for just how significant it would become. One of the rangers, Wynne, saw this kind of gap in the distance, and we went up and had a look, and there was this tree freshly fallen that they'd not seen before, and created this big space in the forest. And the beauty of that moment and the impact of that moment on the work was very, very profound, because there was a tree that had just fallen. And originally the idea was to to grow the tree from seed, but instead we took a cutting from the fallen tree because it was still alive. And that will be that's been grown on as a sapling to be planted in the cairn. So as the old tree dies and decays, this new tree will grow on top of the cairn. So there'll be this dialogue between the old and the new, and the decay and growth, which is, I think, a very, very interesting aspect of the piece. Well, yeah, this particular piece has an incredible sense of violence in that clearing. It did not fall quietly. It tore a hole through the forest. And, we've tried to keep as much of the fallen tree as possible to show that. The stone is a very tough stone. It's from nearby, and it's a granite. There's granite, and there's a kind of a very hard mudstone slate. We call it Mary Valley slate, and that's incredibly hard, harder than the granite, but at the same time very fragile because it's got fractures that run through it. And it's a tough stone to work. There's a real resistance of the stone. And I've had to work it with the saw to work into it, because a hammer and a chisel doesn't touch it. It just bounces off. So it's forced me to work the stone in a way that I've never before with the saw and cutting. And so it feels like I'm quarrying it out of the ground. But I think the resulting form and feel of the cairn is really rugged and raw, and I'm quite happy with these kind of lines, the evidence of that cutting. And because, and usually I'm putting the stones in place and then cutting the face, which I've never done before, which means that all the lines are vertical, so they'll all kind of come from the base and lead upwards to the point, so there'll be this patination through the cutting. And I haven't wanted that to get too decorative, because that's a classic sort of sculptor's method of carving, is to cut very neat lines and then chisel it out, and it forms these very beautiful kind of surfaces on carved sculptures. So I've left it a little raw, somewhere a little too deep, or a little, so it's got a more rough-hewn feel about it, which I think is more appropriate. But I'm kind of sorted that out as I've been going along. The work is about the future. It is working time. I'm not just. It's about anticipating. I don't know what will happen. I hope the cairn will grow. The Strangler fig will grow over the cairn. How that will occur, I don't know, and how people respond to that, I don't know. And that's the beauty of the work. I was asked by Aaron, one of the guys, the rangers helping, he said, what material do I like to work with most? The material I like to work with most is growth and change. And here is a sculpture, a permanent work that is working with growth and change. And for that is a very beautiful thing to be doing. And there's a real sense for me of the work just being released. And the fact that I don't know exactly what will be happening makes it a very powerful sculpture for me to learn from, to look at. Even though I'll be dead before it's anywhere near completion. But for the nature for me is a very tough, beautiful, raw, difficult, challenging, physically, intellectually, conceptually, and it's all of those things. Like we said, the site has a brutality about it, rawness about it, and that is nature. I cannot make this work without investing that amount of raw energy into its making, and it's the struggle of that. It's hard won. And yet the result is that I'm wanting is something that it will feel like a tree that is also achieved where it is through it's hard won. It's struggled. Every tree you see has struggled against all odds to be there, and yet they look so effortless, And that's what I hope the cairn will be too.